Continuing with HTML5 web communication, today we'll be discussing WebSockets. WebSockets are basically persistent connections, and by persistent we mean that whenever the connection is opened, it remains open until and unless we close it from our side. The initiation always takes place from the client end. So the browser will request the connection, and once the connection is established, it remains open and it's available for exchange of data. The WebSocket implementation has to happen at both ends, that is on client side as well as on the server side. On server, we have implementations available in form of Node, PHP, and other major programming languages. In this lecture, we'll be taking a look at the HTML5 support for WebSockets. Whenever we create a WebSocket, we have to pass the URL of the server, which is implementing the server side of WebSockets. And once the connection is established, we have the ready state available. The ready state actually gives us the actual state of the connection. It's basically in form of numeric value of 0, 1, 2, and 3, 0 being connecting, 1 being open, 2 being closing, and 3 being closed. There's one more attribute that we pass while making the connection to the WebSocket, and that is the protocol. That is an optional value. Then there are certain methods available from the browser side, that is send and close. So if you have to send some data to the server, you can send it in form of a string by making use of the send method. And then if you have to close the WebSocket connection, you can do so by calling the close method. Finally, we have certain events like open, close, error, and message. Open is basically called when the connection is established, and close is called when we close the connection by making use of the close method. Error is called when some error occurs. Message is whenever a message is received from the server. At that point of time, the message event occurs. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can make use of these methods and events, and how we can create a WebSocket using HTML5. So the first thing that we need to do is check whether WebSocket is supported by the browser or not. So in order to do that, we have to make use of the window object, and here we are saying window.WebSocket. If it returns true, we'll be getting this line in our console: WebSockets are supported. Otherwise it will say looks like you're using an old browser. So let's save this and execute it in browser now. There you go. It says WebSockets are supported. Now let's see how we can create a WebSocket or initiate a connection to a WebSocket. So as mentioned, the first thing that needs to be provided to the WebSocket constructor is a URL, and the URL will have this syntax, that is, it will start with WS or WSS for secured one, and here you have your URL.extension and then the port number. After that, we will be making use of the WebSocket class. So here we'll be creating a WebSocket object by making use of the WebSocket class here, and we have the URL, and as you can see, the protocol is optional. So in order to create this, we'll simply remove the protocol from here for now, and let's put it as a comment over here. Next, what we need to do is, in order to send the data to server, we can make use of the send method. So we'll say ws.send, and here we can write message to server, close it, and this way you can send data to server. Then if you have to close it or close the connection, you can do so by saying ws.close. Whenever you will call this method, the close event will fire. Now in order to see how events can be taken care of, we'll be taking a small example of open event. So here, when the connection will be established, say it in this fashion. So first one is showing you how you can make use of the open event in form of event. So here you have add event listener. We are associating the open event and then calling the function here. The other one is just a different way of implementing it by making use of onOpen event itself. So WebSocket.onOpen and then we're calling a function to it, anonymous function, and here we are saying it in form of function. So these are the two alternative approaches that you can take to handle events. And here for message, you can simply replace it with message or on message. For close, you can say close or on close here. That way you will be able to work with events in WebSockets. So this was just the introduction to WebSockets, how they are actually created and how we can make use of their methods and events. In upcoming lectures, when we will be creating our server using Node, we'll be exploring more on this.